Message of Pope Leo XIV on the occasion of the 10th anniversary of the canonization of the parents of Saint Thérèse of the Child Jesus. To His Excellency Bishop Bruno Fayet of Sayé, I am happy to join you in thought and prayer, along with all the clergy and faithful gathered here, as you celebrate the 10th anniversary of the canonization of Louis and Zélie Martin in the very place where they were sanctified in their married life. As the first couple to be canonized as such, this event is of particular importance as it highlights marriage as a path to holiness. Among the vocations to which men and women are called by God, marriage is one of the most noble and exalted. Quote, Louis and Zélie understood that they could become saints not despite marriage, but through, in, and by marriage, and that their marriage should be considered as the starting point of a journey together. That's from Cardinal Martin's homily for the beatification. The couple of Alençon is therefore a shining and inspiring model for generous souls who have committed themselves to this path or who plan to do so with a sincere desire to lead a beautiful and good life under the gaze of the Lord in joy as in trial. I therefore hope that this anniversary will be an opportunity to make better known the life and merits of this incomparable couple and parents, so that families so dear to God's heart, but also sometimes so fragile and tested, may find in them, in all circumstances, the support and graces necessary to continue on their journey. Louis and Zélie did not fulfill their desire to become saints and educate their children in holiness by withdrawing from the world. They assured their duty in the ordinary course of life, everyday life. They assume their duty in the ordinary course of life. They are part of that immense cloud of saints next door, often mentioned by Pope Francis. It's not difficult for pilgrims visiting Alençon, which preserves their moving memory, to grasp the concrete and daily setting in which the Martin parents lived, committed as they were to the Norman society of their time through their parish, their professional activities, their charitable works, their circles of friends, and of course their family life. However, we must not be mistaken. This seemingly ordinary, in quotes, life was inhabited by a presence of God that was, to say the least, extraordinary, in quotes. It was its absolute center. Quote, God first served, in quote, is the model on which they built their entire existence. This, then, is the model of a couple that the Holy Church presents to young people who wish, perhaps hesitantly, to embark on such a beautiful adventure, a model of fidelity and attention to one another, a model of fervor and perseverance in the faith, of Christian education of children, of generosity in the exercise of charity and social justice, a model also of trust in times of trial. But above all, this exemplary couple bears witness to the ineffable happiness and profound joy that God grants, both here on earth and for eternity, to those who commit themselves to this path of fidelity and fruitfulness. In these troubled and confused times, when so many countermodels of unions, often fleeting, individualistic, and selfish, with bitter and disappointing fruits, are presented to young people, the family, as the Creator intended, may seem outdated and dull. Louis and Zélie Martin testify that this is not the case. They were happy, deeply happy, giving life, radiating and transmitting the faith, seeing their daughters grow and flourish under the gaze of the Lord. What joy it is to gather after Mass on Sunday around the table where Jesus is the first guest and shares in everyone's joys, sorrows, plans, and hopes. What joy it is to have these moments of prayer together, these days of celebration, these family events that mark the passing of time. But also, what a comfort it is to be together at times of trial, united with the cross of Christ when it appears, and finally, what hope there is to be reunited one day in the glory of heaven. Dear couples, I invite you to persevere courageously on the path that you have undertaken, which is sometimes difficult and laborious, but luminous. Above all, put Jesus at the center of your families, your activities, and your choices. Help your children discover His boundless love and tenderness, and strive to make them love Him in return as He deserves. That is the greatest lesson that Louis and Zélie teach us today, and which the Church and the world so urgently need. How could Thérèse have loved Jesus and Mary so much, and then passed on such a beautiful doctrine to us, if she had not learned it first from her saintly parents from an early age? I trust all of you, dear families, to the protection of Louis and Zélie Martin and Saint Thérèse of the Child Jesus and the Holy Face. Imploring the intercession of the Virgin Mary for you, I cordially impart my apostolic blessing to you, Your Excellency, and to all those present. From the Vatican, October 1st, 2025, Memorial of Saint Thérèse of the Child Jesus of the Holy Face.